We're coming to you from the AVPN Global Conference for 2025, and sitting beside me is the CEO of AVPN, Naina Batra. Naina, welcome. It's so lovely to have you with us again.
Lovely to have you back, Oriel. Wouldn't be AVPN without you.
Thank you. Well, I tell you what, this is the busiest that I've seen, the AVPN conference. How many people have you got this year?
I think we have more than 1,500.
Wow.
Really. I do believe it's more than 1,500. Yes.
Doesn't that show the importance and how much the world vision on sustainability and on impact?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Philanthropy is actually coming together, which is a wonderful thing to see.
It is, and I think the fact that people are making time and they're coming, I think it shows that everyone realizes that the time to act is now. It's also interesting because given the whole geopolitical background, I think people in this part of the world from Asia Pacific are very, very clear that they have to write their own destiny, and they need to be the ones that are driving the agenda, whether it's around sustainability, whether it's around economic inclusion, whether it's around gender equity, forward. I mean, at least we can discuss gender equity in my conference.
Yes, you can.
We can, very openly.
Without fear.
Without fear.
Yeah, of anything. But how is the conference going in your view? I mean, we're day one now. We've got 2 more days to go.
So I already believe that some of the discussions that have happened have been very good, very deep, very contextual, and have brought in new players. We've had a discussion on the landscape in Saudi Arabia, some very, very frank conversations on what's happening in China, really, really interesting from Tencent on a very different way and a different model of corporate giving. We've talked about what's going on in Malaysia, in Japan, and we haven't even finished day one yet. So I think we're off to a really good start. I think the conversations you're hearing in the halls are just buzzing with energy. And I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Are minds and hearts changing, do you believe, when it comes to impact?
I do think so.
Yeah.
I think there is much more a bias for action. I think it's moved far beyond the talk, and it's really, really talking about what can we do together? How can we actually collaborate together? I think there is also a level of humility that is here in this conference where no one organization is saying, I'm going to do this myself, or no one government is saying, I can do this by myself. I think the finance secretary of the government of Hong Kong also spoke very eloquently when he talked about partnerships and how important partnerships are. So I think that's the tone. Let's do it together. This is our continent. It's our future. How do we actually create a better future for our children? What is it that we need to change, and what is it that we need to learn from what has happened in the other side of the world that we don't repeat?
Is Asia, do you believe, is Asia going to be the centre?
Yes.
Of impact going forward?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But
I think Asians have found a newfound confidence where they are much more able to talk about their own way of philanthropy. One thing that I've heard again and again and again today is values and values-driven philanthropy, which I think is really interesting. A lot of Asians pride themselves that their philanthropy doesn't come from tax break, but it actually comes from values. And I think that's what's sustainable. The other thing that I've heard a number of times today, which I couldn't agree with more, in Asia, you don't have to be rich to be a philanthropist. Everybody can be a philanthropist. And I think that is really interesting. It's talking about taking the individual along, and how do we actually take the whole community along to create a better world for all of us. I think our keynote speaker this morning, Mrs. Adani, spoke about the fact that let's not make the beneficiary always a beneficiary. How do we actually make the beneficiary a recipient but also a giver? And how do we actually change that trajectory where they don't see themselves as always just receiving, but they see themselves as actually being able to turn it around and giving back. And I think that's the ethos of Asian
How do you
philanthropy.
do that?
By actually looking and seeing that how do you actually create opportunities where someone who needs help can actually be equipped, trained, skilled to actually give help. And we saw that as well in terms of the Thai Education Fund. That was a video that we launched today around our Impact Collab, where, it was about a young Thai girl whose mother is a dancer, who was also working as a dancer part-time, wanted to go become a nurse, actually got a loan from the Thai Education Fund to go and become a full-fledged nurse. You're not just giving aid, but you're actually helping that person then be a fully functioning member who gives back to her community. And that's to me is what we need to focus on, and that's where we need to go.
And it takes collaboration to get there. I mean, the numbers are staggering, aren't they? It's 210 billion or something annually.
Yes.
Every single year that's needed.
Yes.
It's not something that can be done alone.
It cannot be done alone. It cannot be done by one foundation. It cannot be done by one corporate. It cannot be done by one government. So we all have to come together. And that's where it's really interesting, because we have to think beyond our borders. We have to think about it. And I think, we've learned the hard way through the pandemic that you're as strong as your weakest link. So, if you're going to have children dying of lack of food, you can't just sit there and be quiet about it. It's not just because it's not happening in your country. How are you going to change that? What are you going to say to future generations? Oh, I just sat because it wasn't in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Although we are sitting and watching genocide take place, that's not in our neighborhood, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. But the point is valid. It is, it's even not just Asia. They're global issues.
They are global issues, and we have to speak up. And I think we have to have serious conversations in forums like this, because it feels really good to talk about impact, but. And I said this in my speech this morning, what are each of us doing? If each person who's here does one thing.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say that, oh, this is too big for me. But if we all start doing it, that's when you create a movement. That's when change happens. If we all push, things will change. But we all need to push. And we all need to say, okay, what is one thing I can do differently? Or how do I mobilize that $1? Or is it something I can change? And that's the beauty of it. And, to me, I'm actually seeing more and more people take that leap and saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Rather than saying, oh, let's talk about it, let's figure it out, which is where I feel the difference is this year.
So when you look ahead over the next 5 years for AVPN, what do you see? What's your vision? What would you like to do with AVPN over the next 5 years? What sort of results, impact would you like to have?
I'd actually like to see an ecosystem where, there is a lot more collaboration without the need of intermediaries like us, where, capital is moving where it's needed quite seamlessly, where we have more public markets that are actually involved and, are doing this not because, okay, it's a good thing to have or it's my CSR activity, but they're doing this because that's what the market is pushing them to do. And that's the only thing that will stick eventually. So, I think that's where I see AVPN going, and that's why we continuously keep pushing to have those who are not here the next year and the next year, because we can't keep preaching to the choir. I need to grow the church.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hoping to do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you, Ariel.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.